Hey there, Solo here, and today I have a brand new video for you on the Marvel's Avengers game that was released earlier this month. Now, in this short amount of time, we've already seen Crystal Dynamics show that they are invested in this game, with them not only addressing some of the launch bugs, especially with their amazing patch that addressed over 1,000 of them, but they've also begun to actually make changes to the quality of life of the game, such as making Captain America more useful now that he can smash through walls. So, if you've been following the game and for some reason you haven't decided to pick it up yet, I first want to ask, what are you waiting for? I'm always going to advocate for a live service game that shows potential to be supported for years, and if games such as Destiny and The Division can last years, Marvel's Avengers definitely can last just as long, if not longer. But before you go out and hop into the game, I want to talk about a few things so you know exactly what you're getting into and can make sure that any time you spend in Marvel's Avengers is fun for you and doesn't feel like a waste of time. Because there is nothing worse in this world than to feel like your time was wasted. So, let's go ahead and get started. First thing you need to know, Marvel's Avengers is a live service game. Now, some of you may be thinking, okay, I know that, but I want to make sure that you understand what live service actually means. And to be perfectly blunt, it means the game is not perfect. There will be mistakes, there will be bugs, there will be downtime. If you've been following news about the game, you may have seen some people call the game unfinished or express that the game should not have launched in the state that it did. Now, I'm not going to comment on any specific individual or their criticisms, but the thing is, gone are the days where developers are pushing out games that are 100% start to finish, free of bugs and glitches, and quite frankly, I'm okay with that. The great thing about live service games is that while mistakes can and will happen, a good developer can make sure the community is at ease in knowing that the problems have solutions and they are implementing them to get a fix as soon as possible. And if they are a great developer, they will compensate their community accordingly if the problem persists and hinders the player experience. And surprisingly enough, or not surprisingly enough, Crystal Dynamics has done all of what I just mentioned. We, as gamers, are humans, allegedly, and understand that we are not perfect 100% of the time. So we should not expect that developers get it right 100% of the time. The great thing about live service is that developers can make the changes and fixes to make it right. All they are asking for is our patience and understanding. So know that when you purchase this game, you're telling them that you are willing to give them that patience and understanding as long as they continue to care about the franchise. Now, the next tips are going to apply to when you finally decided to purchase the game, you've downloaded all of the patches and other data that needs to be downloaded for some reason, and you're on the main screen. The second thing you need to know is that before you do anything else, you're going to want to do the campaign. Even if you already know what's going to happen, do the campaign. Without giving too much away for the people that may not have purchased the game just yet, just do the campaign. In terms of mode, I finished the campaign on brutal mode, and I can't say that I received anything spectacular for beating it on brutal mode. So if you want to fly through it on easy mode, go ahead, be my guest. But, and I can't stress this enough, do the campaign. Now, when you've done the campaign, you'll be able to safely get into the Avenger initiative without any spoilers, and you'll know exactly what's going on. Here, you'll be able to level up all your Avengers and get into the grind of the game. Now, I know that not everyone likes the grind of these types of games, and while they are inevitable, the last few tips should help make that grind a bit easier. So the third thing that you need to know is that you are going to want to save your materials for when you've leveled up your heroes. Now, if you're like me, there may be a possibility that you leveled up some of your gear during the campaign, and once you figured out how the campaign works, you told yourself, okay, that was a waste. Let me not do that again. You want to carry over that same idea to the Avenger initiative, especially because until your gear hits the soft cap, which at the moment is level 130, your gear doesn't matter. You're going to delete it. Even if it has a really amazing perk and you're going to want to hang on to it. If it's not at level 130, you're going to delete it. So I guess this is actually 2 tips in one. Save your materials and don't create any attachment to your gear if it's under level 130. Speaking of gear, the next tip that I have for you is in regards to obtaining your gear. Now, the simple answer is just play the game, do the missions, and have fun because you will be rewarded. But for those that have a critical eye, you may have noticed that when you select missions, the game gives you the ability to change the mission difficulty, and you may be asking, does this affect how much gear I can get? The answer is a bit of a mystery, as Crystal Dynamics has been a bit unclear as to how difficulty plays into loot acquisition. But here's my theory. The difficulty doesn't affect loot drops, but it affects the quality of the loot. You may have noticed that when you get gear, each piece is rated on a 5-star scale. I believe the harder the difficulty, the more likely you will get a 5-star piece of gear. Now, I have not run extensive tests on this, so what this tells me is that until your character hero reaches 130, which again is the soft cap, you're probably better off running a mission at challenge level 1 or 2. And then once you start grinding for good rolls for your gear after you've hit the soft cap, you'll want to hop into challenge 3 or 4 to try to get the 5-star gear. And again, this is all theory, so until I make a video that tests out this theory, please take this with a grain of salt and don't say that I told you to do this, because this again is just a theory. It's only a suggestion. Now, the final piece of advice that I have for you really is to make sure you're not wasting your time, because as I've said before, no one likes having their time wasted. So this tip is simply to prioritize leveling up your gear over leveling up your Avenger. I've seen so many videos out there that talk about the fastest tip to leveling up your Avenger, and it requires running harm rooms over and over again. And while I understand why people would want to do this, let me tell you why you don't want to do this. You're basically putting more work on yourself by separating the Avenger and gear leveling process when you could do them at the same time. To make it even more simple, Harm Room grants XP and no gear. Running missions grants the same amount of XP you would get from the Harm Room and gear. So yeah, don't run Harm Room just to level up your Avenger to level 50. Go out, run some missions, get to level 50, and get some gear while you do it. And there you have it. Those are the 5 or 6, depending on how you want to count it, things you need to know before you hop into Marvel's Avengers. Let me know down in the comments below what your favorite tip is and if you have any other tips you want to share. If you like this video, please go ahead and give a thumbs up and be sure to hit the subscribe and bell button for more videos like this, because there will be more. But thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Solo says, so long.